Today we are looking at Ethereum coin and a potential movement towards this major zone here. So let's see what's going on with it today. Good morning traders, welcome back to the channel, and we are back with Ethereum coin after having a nice retest to that same broken resistance zone where we broke this major resistance zone as it was in the beginning of November. At the end of November we broke this 100 EMA completely, went for bullish momentum, but of course we went for a retesting this 100 EMA and the resistance zone, and currently weekly candle is showing us a nice bounce from this retest, which indicates a potential movement to upper zones where the next tops should be of course this major resistance zone or at least this zone here. So if we see any breakout from this zone here, which will act as a small resistance for the Ethereum coin, and as soon as we break this zone, then on a bigger time frame we are going to look for a potential movement towards this major resistance zone. So on a weekly time frame it's pretty clear. We have been forming a nice upward channel where we had the bounce from here, here, and a resistance from here. Then we had one last bounce, of course breaking this middle line of Bollinger Bands, which is this line here again, and going straight for a breakout, which was pretty amazing and without any significant struggle. Meaning, as we reached this zone, yes, we had one red candle here, but it got suppressed pretty quickly, leaving a high wick here as well. What's interesting actually is that we left a lot of fair value gap zones, meaning basically this zone here can be counted as a fair value gap zone, this zone here, and basically let me just draw some boxes for you. So first one would be this zone here, then of course this one here, and so goes on, meaning this one here as well, and this one we won't count as a fair value gap zone, but this one can be counted for sure. So this zone here, these zones have not been filled yet, so there is a high chance of seeing some kind of very quick liquidity movement towards these zones just to grab them, as we are still not completely in a bullish movement as of now. And usually the bullish movement starts just after the halving happens, so maybe couple of weeks or even months after the halving has happened. So if you look just on the technical side on a weekly time frame, we see a nice chance of seeing this major resistance zone to be reached, as we had a nice retest which was successful for the bulls. So the scenario that we are going to play most likely here would be something like this, meaning that we set a very tight stop loss and of course a target towards this major resistance zone once we see a nice clean breakout and retest similar to this one near this zone here. If we see it, then we will of course reclaim all the fair value gap zones which have been left here as well. You can see this zone here and also actually this small zone here, so this zone here. But let's see on a 4-hour time frame what's the difference there. And straight to the point, on a 4-hour time frame we see how nicely this 200 and 100 EMA have been holding the market price of the Ethereum coins since this breakout here, meaning that after we had a nice breakout here, of course we left a ton of fair value gap zones, the major one leaving this zone here, but we have been bouncing nicely on the upper side, just resistance broken completely without any major struggle, meaning the major struggle would be something like this movement to this zone here, but it didn't happen of course. So we just broke out, and here we had some liquidity movement breaking this 100 EMA, and then this is the zone where the 100 EMA lost its dominance towards the market price of Ethereum coin, and of course the 200 EMA saved the situation in combination with this resistance line here, meaning this zone here, and it bounced straight out. So just zooming more in, just looking here, what we want to see is of course breakout from this zone here. So let's remove this box for now. So what we want to see is nice breakout happening from this zone here, and once we see a nice breakout from this zone, of course the next game plan is basically to see if we see any kind of movement, meaning a nice attempt to break out. And of course if we see a breakout, then we want to see a retest, meaning something like this, and from here something like this. And this would be the zone where we would like to see a nice rejection happening, of course rejection from the side of the bulls, and a nice movement to the upper zones, meaning towards our major target of this $3,500 basically. But it's more of a long-term game plan. So on a short-time basis, what we want to see is potential breakout here, and then a small catch of long position towards this line here. But there can be also this kind of movement, meaning we try to secure this zone, but we fail, of course, and go to this lower zone. If we see any kind of fail to break out from this zone, which is currently holding the price back, as you can see here as well, then we will see most likely a nice retest again to this zone. And if this retest fails, then we will go for another retest towards this major resistance zone on a daily time frame. And this will determine the next movement. So on a 4-hour time frame, it's a little bit sketchy, but the game plan is basically similar. We just have to wait for a perfect setup to occur, meaning nice breakout, retest, breakout, retest, and nice movement towards our upper resistance zone where it was like $3,500. But if we fail to maintain this zone and this resistance line as well, then we will see most likely the sideways movement inside this zone here, until of course potentially breaking from this zone, or either breaking down from this zone here and testing again this trend line on a weekly time frame. So basically this is the view that we see on the Ethereum coin. It has a huge potential to break this, even this major resistance zone as well, but it will be again a longer game plan for us once we enter fully the bullish market, once the halving is done and we would be ready for another bullish moment. But yet we don't see it to happen until we break at least this zone here, and of course this smaller resistance zone here as well. So let's wait, enjoy the Christmas, and see how the yearly candle will close, as the yearly candle will show us some major liquidity moves on the market. As always, if you like this video, feel free to share and subscribe and like, and trade safe, and see you in the next session.